Hi, I'm Teja Gerken with Peghead Nation, and I'm here with the new Martin 0017 Authentic 1931 guitar. As you can tell, this is a 00 size 12 fret instrument, and as all the guitars in the Authentic series, it's really the most accurate type of instrument that Martin's making in terms of reproducing vintage spec style instruments. As such, the 0017 Authentic 1931 is modeled after an early 30s 0017 before the switch to a 14 fret neck and the slightly modified body shape happened. That would be the case with later 0017s. And of course, it also has the wide neck and wide string spacing that would be characteristic of an early 30s 00 size guitar. Martin's done a really wonderful job with this guitar. It's light as a feather. I love the way it sounds. It really feels and sounds, for lack of a better term, authentic. I've played quite a few older vintage guitars of this style, and this really comes very close. Let's take a closer look. Of course, it has all mahogany construction, mahogany top, back, and sides. That's one of the characteristics of a 17 series instrument. And this is the very first time that Martin's used its vintage tone system, or VTS system, which is a type of torrefying the top, the wood, by using heat and kind of simulating an accelerated age process on a mahogany top. They've used it on a lot of spruce tops, but this guitar is the first time they've used it on a mahogany top, and it makes sense to do it on a vintage type instrument like this. And I think the results are really quite spectacular in that the guitar really does have kind of a broken in, opened up sound right out of the box. The wood on this guitar is really quite attractive as well. You can tell it's got beautiful coloring, even grain, really all the way around. Beautiful sets for the entire body. The fingerboard and bridge and the peghead veneer are actual Brazilian rosewood, and that is unusual to find on a new guitar these days. Very beautiful as well, particularly the peghead overlay, I think, has some beautiful grain in it. And the guitar uses hide glue construction, which is, of course, another sign of the vintage accurate building process that Martin's using in these. And the typical type of appointments that you would find on a 17 type guitar, which, of course, has always been a very plain instrument. There's no binding on the body. There are simple dot inlays in the face of the fingerboard, simple position markers in the side, and that's really it. It lets the materials and the design of the guitar speak for itself. Also typical for these early 12 fret guitars, of course, is the slotted peghead. This is no exception. The tuners that Martin's currently using on these are Golden Age relic tuners. They are 3 on a strip. Of course, they are open geared, and they have black buttons on this guitar. The saddle on the guitar in the rosewood bridge is also vintage accurate in that it is a glued-in saddle with open ends. And a lot of people feel that doing it this way does affect the tone, and it's probably part of the overall formula that makes this guitar sound like it does. Now, I earlier mentioned the neck width and the string spacing dimension, and that really is very much true to the vintage specs that the guitar would have had. And I've played quite a few 00 12 fret type guitars by more contemporary builders that have been designed to feel more like a contemporary guitar, which is kind of its own thing. But I'm very glad that with these guitars, Martin really is going for the feel of the older guitars. And as such, the neck has a distinct V feeling. It's not too deep. I've played some chunkier Martin necks than this. Very playable. Distinct V feeling on there. It's 1 7/8 inches at the nut, so quite wide, and the spacing at the saddle is 2 3/8 inches. So it's really quite wide. It's the widest spacing that Martin's offered on their steel string guitars. And if you're a fingerstyle player and you haven't played a guitar with wide spacing like this, it may be a revelation to you. I find that it's really conducive to playing challenging right-hand passages with a guitar like this. And even it's really 00 12 fret guitar with a wide spacing is kind of as close to a classical guitar as a steel string guitar gets. As such, this guitar really does lend itself to even playing some of that type of material on a steel string guitar. For example, here's a little bit of a Tarrega study. feels very much the way that a classic guitar would feel, and the wide string spacing really allows you to really have plenty of room for your fingers to not get in the way of each other and to accidentally hit strings that you don't mean to hit. So for some people it may be a little bit wide, but if you haven't played a guitar with wide string spacing and you play fingerstyle, it may really be a revelation for you. But of course these guitars aren't just great for playing fingerstyle. A lot of people play them with a flat pick for strumming or for playing lead type guitar. So let's also listen to Peghead Nation's Scott Nygaard playing the guitar with a pick. Okay, so that's the Martin 0017 Authentic 1931. It's a very cool new guitar. Really neat to see Martin going for this 17 type guitar on a high-end model, and to do it right, do it really the way that a vintage guitar would feel and sound, and just have the overall vibe of these older guitars. This is really a great testament of the kind of high-end reproductions of their own guitars that Martin's capable of, and I would definitely recommend that you check these out at your Martin dealer. So please come back here to Peghead Nation to check out more of our gear demos. My name is Teja Gerken.